Welcome back to another night of Kickback. Tonight's guest is somebody you don't want to mess around with. He used to be the former lightweight bare-knuckle knockdown champion in the Kyokushinkai tournaments. He has spent 15 years in the martial arts between Kodokan Judo and Kyokushinkai Karate, which are his foundations. He is now the head of the umbrella organization, which is the Iron Warrior Federation. He has the videotape series that he has out now, about 13 or 14 I think he's working on now, and he has a bunch of manuals as well as books which he is working on. I'd like to introduce our next guest, Marco Lala. Marco?
Scott,
thanks for coming down.
Thank you for having me on the show. It's a pleasure.
No, anytime. You're definitely a tribute to the martial arts and all the teachings and the accomplishments that you've had between the videos and the fighting and the books and your philosophies alone. It's great. What got you into all this? What started you out in the martial arts?
Well, when I was younger, I was pretty athletic. I started with baseball, which is basically a team sport. But with my friends, we used to have a lot of games where you like survive, like who can jump the farthest, broad jumping, and diving over hedges, and who can run the fastest. Yeah. And I watched a martial arts demonstration on TV. And immediately it caught my eye because I thought that this person had some kind of superhuman skills or something that the average person couldn't do. And me being that type of individual, very athletic, I thought that the martial arts might be a perfect vehicle or means to achieve these, the skill level.
So
that's
excited you saw that superhuman thing, and
absolutely.
Guys doing flying kicks and breaking boards.
I thought it was incredible. It reminded me of I used to be into comic books, and it reminded me of superheroes, and you see those guys with super builds and stuff.
Oh yeah,
and
Richard Dragon series,
exactly.
Comic books.
And the Incredible Hulk actually was a strong influence because I tried to tie in the weight training, and I actually when I started getting into the martial arts and learning about Bruce Lee and watching the movies, Chuck Norris, and about I think it was the mid-70s. Incredible Hulk came out with Lou Ferrigno, so I mean that tied in with the martial arts, which came in a few years later. I kind of wanted to almost be one or the other, and then I realized that they work perfectly together. So
which is what you pretty much preach now, bringing the physical conditioning
absolutely.
With the martial arts, which was great that you happened to see that as a child.
Yes.
And bring that out.
It's essential. In my travels, so to speak, I've noticed that it doesn't really matter how many techniques you know, but the physical level that the person has achieved, can make one or two techniques work very well.
How well you perform them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what was it like walking in the dojo for the first day as a kid after seeing all this and then all of a sudden saying, well, this is reality?
Well, it was a little intimidating at first. My first instructor, Sensei Hiyoki, who's now out in Arizona.
Right, who I know.
He's an amazing individual.
Great man.
His devotion to the martial arts is virtually incomparable today. Actually, when I met him, he was living in the school. He came from Japan, and he lived in the dojo, I think, for somewhere like around 8 years.
Something he
literally slept on the mat. So, it was that type of influence, that really affected my martial arts training. I looked at it from a point of view where if you don't do it with this type of level, you're not really doing it the right way.
Exactly.
That's kind of like, the impression that I got from him. And then, seeing some of the demonstrations, I watched him fight full contact. I've seen him like break baseball bats with his shins and cinder blocks with the head. So, I was about 14 at the time, and I'm saying, you can imagine,
can I do this? Can I
a 14-year-old, being exposed to, such a thing. It was like my dream coming true as far as, this guy is a superhero.
Yeah, it becomes your idol in a way because it's like, I want to be like that.
And over the years, he actually became more of a father to me, and he was very close, to me, guided me in all other directions.
They say they're senseis, which is the same with mine. I felt the same thing. Mm-hmm. They become that father figure. They not that they're replacing your father, but they give that addition of the discipline, the confidence, and not that you weren't getting that from your father, but you're right, they actually guide you through your life.
And Scott, on top of that, even though he was a teacher, he had his own school, the respect that he had for his own instructor, which is Shihan Shigeru Oyama, who I also train under, it was very interesting to see that here is my teacher, but he's still talking about his instructor, and we would train together under him, our master. So it was very interesting to see the hierarchy there, the levels of training. My current instructor, Sensei Hoishi, who teaches in Manhattan, my judo instructor, just visited Japan recently, and he was telling me about his instructor, who's 87 years old and still training and doing throws, and and I'm thinking,
another thing you hear
I've been doing this for 15 years. I haven't even scratched the surface yet.
And this guy's 87 years old, still
Exactly.
training, still throwing people around,
Exactly.
probably with the same ease that he had
So
when he was
it's
50.
really, it's something to look forward to. It's that whole thing of perseverance. When somebody joins a martial arts school, they want to achieve things very fast, but the key thing is perseverance, I think, in the martial arts, and patience.
Which is important, and the patience thing that people don't realize. A lot of kids, they think that they could walk into a school and they're going to get the black belt the next day, or they're going to say, well, I'm going to walk out there with a move that I'm going to take on every kid with,
Right.
Obviously, that's not true, like I know that's not true, but a lot of people out there think that whatever they learn, they're going to walk right out and be, this is my Superman, I've now put on my cape.
Exactly. What I try to tell individuals is sometimes to take martial arts and take it out of the context of martial arts training, and let's say put it into law or medicine. I mean, you wouldn't want your doctor to have a mail order degree in surgery while he's operating on you. So I mean, it's the same thing with martial arts training. I really believe that, and the degree level of training is should be somewhat a challenge.
And there are mail order black belts out there.
There are, there are
at every corner,
unfortunately, but that's the case. That's with anything.
That's like anything, any schooling or any art of any form or anything that anybody becomes an organization. There are politics, there is red tape, and there are things that people seem to slip through and they get things a lot quicker than others. But those people know that they really train for it. And
exactly.
And when we come back, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some of the moves with some help from a couple of your students.
Yes.
And we will go over some of the techniques between takedowns, joint locks, some of the realistic striking maneuvers that you might use in self-defense situations. All right, great. When we come back, we'll take a look at Marco and his students performing some of these moves, and we'll catch you right back here.